So, about 3 months ago, I'd say, I put a video out on my channel predicting all of the division winners and all of the award winners for Cy Young, MVP, and Rookie of the Year. And I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of an update on those, since we are, roughly speaking, halfway through the season. I think we're still a little less than halfway through the season. I'm not really sure. I haven't looked at exact records in a while, at least not in that light. So I think we're right around halfway through the season. So it's I thought it'd be interesting, I should say, to revisit who I had said was going to win all those awards at the beginning of the year, and then revisit them now and see how those predictions are doing, and then give you some new predictions if I deem those new predictions to be necessary, which, spoiler, some of them, obviously, I do feel is necessary. So, let's start with the American League Cy Young Award. I believe I had said that I thought Garrett Cole was going to win the Cy Young this year. I thought that he made the most sense. I thought he was the most sensible to win the AL Cy Young Award this year. I thought this was finally going to be his year, and let's be honest, that pick doesn't look all that bad right now. I would say if he's not the favorite right now, he's number 2 behind, which makes me so happy and proud. Shane McClanahan is up there as well for the Tampa Bay Rays. And so, quite frankly, I think at this point, it's a coin flip between the two. Whichever you prefer. I'd obviously prefer Shane McClanahan. I'd much rather Shane-O win a Cy Young than to be right on my video. I mean, that's just so awesome. You know, I grew up with him, for those of you who don't know. We played baseball for a couple of years together in travel ball when we were teenagers. We lived in the same area. Didn't go to the same high school or anything, but he's a great guy, and so is his family. So I truly hope that he does win it. If not this year, then obviously at some point, and he's an absolute stud, and he deserves it. So I hope Shane-O wins it. But obviously, in terms of this video for my pick, which was Garrett Cole, that's a pretty solid pick right now. I haven't looked at the odds recently, but I know he spent most of the year as number 1, and I think maybe he slipped to number 2 now behind Shane at this point. If not, they're pretty much neck and neck. So I would say it's a pretty solid prediction. So either one of those is good. But I say I'm rooting for Shane at this point to win it, because who wants a Yankee to win a Cy Young Award? I mean, I guess Chase Burke. Chase Burke probably does. But outside of him, nobody else. Nobody wants a Yankee to win. NL Cy Young Award. So I had picked Max Scherzer, as far as I can remember, to win the Cy Young Award. And I have not looked at Max's stats, but I know that he was injured for a part of the year, and the Mets aren't really doing all that well, so my guess is Max Scherzer is not doing all that well either. So let me see if I can pull up some of Max Scherzer's stats here. Yeah, he's not doing too hot, although his ERA is a little bit inflated because he had a pretty rough outing a couple days ago against the Yankees. So his ERA is 4.45 this year. He is 5-2, so I guess it's not a terrible record. He's only pitched in 11 games so far this year, so he has not really done a whole lot. So that's a bad take. But you know what? You take a shot in the dark and you hope it works out. But it just didn't this year, and that's fine. Or at least it hasn't so far. You never know. He could pitch 20 shutouts in a row. I don't know. You never know what's going to happen. But right now, there are a few names that are bouncing around in my head that I feel like at this point statistically could be considered Cy Young favorites. So, my personal pick, I would say, if I had to choose one guy that I think could win Cy Young in the NL based on everything that I have seen right now, I am picking, I can't believe I'm going to say this, Zach Gallen, Arizona Diamondbacks ace, who I had actually mentioned in my previous podcast episode as guys that I thought were taking a big step up this year and coming into their own, even though Zach Gallen's been a great pitcher for the last few years. But this year he has not only been a good pitcher, he has stepped into the Cy Young Award light that we had all hoped that he would turn and come into. So I would say Zach Gallen is probably my pick right now to win Cy Young. I think he has been a little bit more consistent than the field. Spencer Strider is a guy that's been at the top of a lot of people's lists. Excuse me. And I will say, certainly, I think that he is the best pitcher on the best team in the NL right now, so it makes sense. But he has not really pitched all that well since early to mid-May. I mean, he's kind of been a little more human, I guess. He started off the year just ripping and tearing through lineups. And certainly he hasn't been bad over the last handful of months. He's just been a little bit more pedestrian. And so it is possible that teams are starting to figure him out. It also could just be a little bit of a rough patch as well. But I would say Zach Gallen, I kind of pick him to be a little more consistent. I haven't seen enough of Spencer Strider for me to trust him in a full year's work to see if he can maintain that level of success or if it kind of tapers down as the year goes along, as it does tend to do with some young pitchers. But we will see what happens. But there is another name that I want to throw out there, and it's another name that I cannot believe I'm saying, but seriously, look up his stats and you will know I'm not lying to you. I am going to pick a Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher. That's a lot of P's right in a row. Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher. Oh, pick a Pittsburgh Pirates pitcher. It's like what's that nursery rhyme? Peter Piper picked a pickled pepper. Whatever. I'm losing my mind. So I'm picking a Pittsburgh Pirate pitcher, lots of P's, to pin the Pai Pung Award this year. No, I'm not. But I'm going to throw his name out there. I will stop. Sorry. His name is Mitch Keller. If you don't know who Mitch Keller is, look up his stats this year. I think he's 8-1 or 8-2. He's got around a 3 ERA. His strikeout to walk ratio is insane. He had a stretch where he struck out like 9 or 10 guys in like 6 or 7 straight games that he'd pitched. I mean, he is thoroughly dominating guys. Now, I think in early to mid-May, kind of similar to Strider, he had a couple bad games, but he's bounced back since then. He's had a couple good games in a row now for Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh now is not like a bottom feeder where you're not going to pick a Cy Young Award winner from a bottom feeder team, although the Marlins had a Cy Young Award winner last year. But, you know, it's more likely that especially if they make the playoffs, that Mitch Keller would be in that conversation. So those three guys at the top, Zach Gallen, Spencer Strider, and Mitch Keller, are my three picks. Sorry, there's a bug flying around. But yeah, my one prediction would be Zach Gallen. If I had to take one, gun to my head, pick one, I'm going Zach Gallen. But any of those three guys certainly could win it, and I could see it, but I'll go Zach Gallen. Rookie of the Year. Let's start in the NL this time. This one's easy. I picked Corbin Carroll to win Rookie of the Year, and he's winning Rookie of the Year in the NL, and it's really not close. I don't... I mean, I think he might be favored for MVP. MVP? Yep. Perfect. MVP at this point. Which, I don't know about that. I know he's had a really good year, but I'm not sure I'd put him that high yet. But granted, nobody since Ichiro has won Rookie of the Year and MVP in the same season, and Corbin Carroll could do it, and it's not like Ichiro is a bad player in the history books. I mean, he's one of the greatest of all time. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, or he's going to be whenever he's eligible. Certainly Corbin Carroll. I'm not even going to go into it all that much. He has some of the best statistics in all of the National League. That is undisputable. He is the heart and soul of that lineup. He's the heart and soul of that team right now. And the Diamondbacks are, at least in my mind, violently overperforming. I mean, they are just not overperforming as in like, you know, they're a really bad team that's winning. They just are. I didn't think that they were going to be this good until next year, and they are a year ahead of what I thought that they would be. And I think I said that last video too. So yeah, they're fantastic, and they're playing really well. They might even be in first place in the West. I haven't looked in a few days, so they might not be at this point. They're up there anyway. They're close. So Yeah, Corbin Carroll winning Rookie of the Year in the NL. AL Rookie of the Year. If I remember correctly, I believe I picked Gunnar Henderson of the Orioles to win the AL Rookie of the Year. I'm sure that's not a terrible pick. I know he's doing well for them over there, but it's not the best pick given the guys that are performing now. There's two guys in my mind that I think could win Rookie of the Year. The biased pick that I would say would be I almost didn't say his name right. Masataka Yoshida for the Red Sox. But here's the thing about Masataka Yoshida, right? So I think he's hitting about 315, 320, somewhere in that range. He's got a handful of home runs. He's clearly the best hitter outside of Rafael Devers in that lineup for the Red Sox. They don't really have a whole lot else. He's really good. And that's great. He is exactly who we thought he was coming into the league. He's a guy that's going to walk a lot. He's going to hit a lot. He's going to get on base. But the thing is I almost don't even look at him as a rookie because he's 29? Something like that. I mean, he's older. He's not old. He's older for a rookie. And I think he's even said in interviews, like, if I win Rookie of the Year, cool, I guess. But I don't look at myself as a rookie. Because he's played professional baseball for like 10 years in Japan. So, like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, that doesn't take him out of the running for Rookie of the Year. Like, that doesn't matter. He's still an MLB rookie, so he's eligible. Like, that's not disputed. I'm not trying to dispute that. But what I'm saying is, like, in my mind, like, that's no fun. Like, that was like a few years ago when Ben Simmons won Rookie of the Year, even though it was his second year in the NBA because he didn't play in his first year because he was injured the whole time. Everybody was like, well, he's not even a rookie. He's a second-year player. He just didn't play the whole time. Like, there's no difference between what happened to him and what happens to a second-round rookie that just sits the end of the bench the entire year and doesn't play a single minute. Like, that's the same. Like, does that mean that they're not a rookie? Like, because they didn't step on the court? So it's like one of these things that, yeah. So it was kind of like that. At least it's kind of like that for me. Obviously, that's not how it works, but you guys get what I'm saying. So the second guy that I think is going to win Rookie of the Year if he keeps up this pace is Josh Young, third baseman for the Texas Rangers. He's been outstanding this year. He's hitting about 300. He's got 12 or 13 home runs at this point. He's up there in terms of the AL lead in RBIs at this point. He's hitting right in the heart of that lineup, and the Rangers are a good team. And so that I think he is probably my favorite to win the AL Rookie of the Year right now. I haven't looked at the odds again in quite a while, so I don't know where he stacks up in those odds, but I mean, his statistics are fantastic for a rookie. And so I'm not thinking of anybody outside of those two guys that are up there in terms of MVP voting, unless I'm forgetting somebody obvious. And if I am, please put that in the comment section. As I said last video, I'm pretty sure I mentioned something like that. So, yeah, just please let me know. But Josh Young is my favorite to win the AL Rookie of the Year this year. Okay, MVP. Let's start in the National League again, just because it's the easy one for me. Even though it's a pretty tight race right now at the top. So I know Freddie Freeman is in the conversation. I know Corbin Carroll's in the conversation. I know Ronald Acuna's in the conversation. I've even seen Sean Murphy being thrown around in the conversation, which is great because I did not think that was a great trade. I didn't think that he would be as impactful as he has been as compared to what William Contreras was. I didn't think that they needed that big of an upgrade at catcher, but clearly I was wrong. So I am, listen, if I'm wrong, I'm going to be the first one to tell y'all I'm wrong. And Sean Murphy has been, better than you could have hoped for if you're the Braves, probably. This is easily his best season. And it's not really all that close. So maybe just getting out of Oakland. It is a pitcher's ballpark in Oakland, and obviously there's no talent around them. So how much did he really want to be there by the end? So, hey, maybe a change of scenery helped a lot. So, so I've seen those handful of guys being thrown around. I picked Acuna at the beginning of the year to win MVP, and I've seen nothing to change my mind. He is clearly back to MVP form. He should win MVP if he stays healthy. I would love the story of Corbin Carroll winning the MVP as a rookie, but I just feel like the way Ronald Acuna has battled back from his injuries, he had to watch his team win a World Series without him. Last year, he missed part of the year, and he just wasn't back to his form. He looked like himself. The power just wasn't there. The runs batted in wasn't there. The speed was there. The aggression was there. But for some reason, it just wasn't clicking. And this year, he is hitting absolute tanks all the time. I mean, he's hitting, I think he's got like 5 or 6 home runs that are like 450 feet or more. Like, he's just roasting the baseball right now. So I've seen nothing to make me deviate from my pick. I think Ronald Acuna will, at the end of the year, win MVP. That's not to say that Corbin Carroll or Freddie Freeman or any of those other guys can't win it, and it goes the same for all these awards. It's not to say somebody else can't win it, but for me, I haven't seen anything to tell me that Ronald Acuna is not going to win it. And I also trust Acuna way more down the stretch than I do a rookie, even a rookie who is playing as well as Corbin Carroll is. All it takes is a few pitchers going, hey, there's this thing that he does. There's this pitch that he can't hit. And now he's toast until he makes an adjustment. Whereas Ronald Acuna has been in the league for a few years now, and it's pretty clear he doesn't really have a whole lot of weaknesses in his game. He's a great fielder. He has a great arm. He's got incredible speed. He can steal bases. He walks a lot. He doesn't strike out a ton, and he hits for power. I mean, there's really not a whole lot that he can't do. So Acuna, you could have figured him out years ago, and you never did. No one ever figured out how to get Ronald Acuna out on a consistent basis. There's no one pitch that Ronald Acuna can't hit. There's a lot of hitters out there that struggle with one pitch, and he really doesn't have one. There's not a whole lot of guys that are like that. So Ronald Acuna, easy pick, sticking with it. AL MVP. If my memory serves me right, I picked Yordan Alvarez. Now, I have looked at the odds for the MVP voting since the beginning of the season. And as far as I can see, Yordan Alvarez is not on there. However, I still don't think it's that bad of a pick, and the reason is because right now he's hitting like 290. He's like 5th or 6th in the league with 17 home runs. He's 2nd in all of MLB in runs batted in. He has a 500 plus slugging. He's got almost a 400 on base percentage. His OPS is like 925. He is not having a bad year by any stretch. He has missed some games. He's only played in about 55 to 60 games out of, 75 or 70 games or 80. I don't know how many has been played exactly. Something like that. So there's, a good amount of games that he's missed because of injuries and rest and all that stuff. And he doesn't play the field. So I understand why it's a lot more difficult for somebody like him to be in the MVP conversation. But I still don't think it's that bad of a pick considering he is still very, very, very good. And he is leading the league, or at least up there in a lot of hitting statistics right now. So I don't hate my pick. I just understand that when I did pick it, or pick him, I should say, it's just significantly more difficult for DHs to make the All-Star, or not the All-Star team, the MVP voting. He did it last year. He came in 3rd, but he also hit like 320 and had like 45 home runs and 130 RBIs. Like, he just was unbelievable. So this year, who's going to win AL MVP? I mean, not unfortunately. That's not what I meant. So I talked about Jokic kind of not doing what anybody else has been doing, and I mentioned that he is the Shohei Ohtani of basketball right now. Well, Shohei Ohtani is Shohei Ohtani, and he is like 3rd or 4th in Cy Young voting right now. And he's also like leading, he's in the MVP conversation because he has 18 home runs and he's, top 5 in RBIs in MLB, and he's hitting like 340 and not 340. He's probably not hitting that well. He's probably hitting like 295. But still, like, it's just ridiculous what he's doing. Shohei Ohtani is doing things that no one has ever seen done on a baseball field. You could talk about Babe Ruth all the heck you want. Babe Ruth didn't throw 100 miles an hour, and he didn't run like a gazelle or like a deer. Like, he didn't. Babe Ruth was a decent pitcher and a phenomenal hitter for his time. Shohei Ohtani is one of the best hitters of all time, talent-wise, and one of the best pitchers of all time, talent-wise, at the same time. It's unreal what he's doing. And I had mentioned this, if you guys have not watched the MLB all-time draft that I did with Max McCoy and Chase Burke, please go check that out because it was so much fun. I mentioned in that video that I don't blame MLB MVP voters for having Shohei Ohtani at the top of their list all the time because he's a phenomenal pitcher and a phenomenal hitter, and no one else is doing that. So, like, it's almost by default he's going to be up at the top of the list because no one else is doing what he's doing. Like, if there was 15 guys that were hitting and pitching at the same time, then, you know, maybe it's a different conversation, even if he's really good at both. But there's no one doing it. He's the only one, and he's doing it so well that we're kind of looking at him as one of the best players ever already. And he's been in the MLB for like 4 years. It's insane. You can use whatever adjective or hyperlative or whatever the words are that you want to use. I don't know grammar. But he's ridiculous. So, like, yeah, he's going to be the favorite to win MVP pretty much every year. I'm picking Shohei Ohtani. I'm trying to think of who else might be up there outside of him. And I'm not coming up with it outside of maybe a Shane McClanahan is up there as you know, somebody who could be up there for MVP voting at this point. I mean, I'm trying to even think who's leading the league in home runs right now. And I'm not coming up with anything. I know Jorge Soler has a bunch of home runs. I know he's up there, which is amazing. Good for him. I'm just not coming up with it right now off the top of my head. So, yeah. Pete Alonso is leading the league in home runs as far as I know, but I think he's injured right now, so he might have been surpassed by somebody. But the point is Shohei Ohtani is like 4th in home runs, but I'm pretty sure everybody that's above him is in the National League unless I'm forgetting somebody. So, yeah, I mean, Shohei Ohtani, to me, he's leading the league in home runs. He's like he's up there in the Cy Young conversation, so he's one of the best pitchers in baseball too. He's one of the best hitters. I'm tired, guys. One of the best hitters in baseball too. It's crazy. Yeah, Shohei Ohtani is probably going to win MVP this year. And I'm okay with it. I wish that it was a little different, but I'm still okay with it. But those are my picks. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. I'd love to have conversations with you guys to see if you think my predictions are bad, if you think they're good, or who do you think is going to win any of the MLB awards this year?
Hey guys, me again. Thank you so much for watching one of my clips from the Lopes Goes Last podcast. These clips are so much fun to do. I absolutely love making them and I absolutely love doing them. And this podcast is my baby. So I really want this thing to grow and I really want it to succeed. So if you did like what you see, please subscribe. Also hit that bell notification so you never miss any one of my episodes or one of my clips like this one. And please do also like and share these videos with your friends and your family so that we can make this thing grow as fast as possible. And I wanted to thank you again so much. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video and have a great rest of your day.